Aloha! You're listening to Body Worship, an oasis for the mind, a temple for the body, a sanctuary for the soul. I'm Anna Marie, and welcome to my podcast, where we explore the most cutting-edge alternative modalities, ancient rituals, and sacred practices that shaman, yogis, and healers from all corners of the world have practiced to deeply connect with Source. We'll discuss ways to advocate extreme self-care and align your emotional, mental, and spiritual mind, body, and soul. Thanks for tuning in to Body Worship. Welcome to this week's episode of Body Worship. Today's guest is Barbera Ammahlia Schaefer Berdner. Barbara came to her talents in a unique and painful way as a successful engineer who had accolades and honors for her work in a field among men. She experienced a severe head injury that left her dead for 7 minutes. When she came out of her death experience, she had some new gifts, but barely able to function as a human, much less a high-ranking engineer. She told no one about these new gifts out of fear of being called crazy. 15 years into her healing, she came across Lotus Sword Light Body surgeon training. Then, as though she already knew the material, she understood Light Body and how to clean up, rebuild, activate, recalibrate, and balance the light body to embody and shine the power of truth for a well-supported, life-filled life with personal and financial abundance, purpose, and mission of service. Barbara reconnects you to Source, and when she does, the void that technology, shopping, dieting, etc. haven't filled finally get filled. She helps people reconnect with the divine because she helps you embody your light body to incorporate all that you actually are. Since she healed herself of stage 2 breast cancer, she helped her husband heal his stage 4 throat cancer. And she helps her clients heal many, many other diseases of their physical bodies, which are mere manifestations of the gaps and wounds of their light bodies, the energetic fields that make up who you are on a celestial plane and connects to this earth plane. Thanks to her death for a total of 7 minutes due to her traumatic brain injury back in '97, she has chosen to remain behind and reconnect the souls who have lost their way home. In 2013, her soul had completed its mission and chose to return, experiencing something similar to a walk-in called a reincarnation in the same body. This gave her personal experience for those who have also experienced intense spiritual awakenings and have missions to fulfill here on earth so she could better serve them. All right. Well, hello, Barbara, and thank you so much for being here today.
Hello, Anna Marie. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, it's absolutely my honor. After having worked with you last summer and everything you did to really facilitate such a huge shift in my life, I just couldn't wait to get you on the show.
It's been an honor to watch everything that you've been through and how you've been able to really navigate in such a beautiful way.
Oh, thank you. Well, I attribute a lot of that to you. I really want to talk about exactly what light body activation is. But first, you have the most compelling story of how your life literally switched gears in order to discover your life purpose and the not so gentle way that you were put on your path as Light Body Activator. So can you share that with us?
Well, yes. People always say it was a little bit weird. I grew up in a military family, and as a little child, I could speak to Jesus, or, well, as I know him now as Archangel Sananda, until the nuns told me that I couldn't speak to Jesus because I was a little girl and only priests got to speak to Jesus. So
Oh, interesting.
I know. So I
Wow.
turned that off. Well, I didn't really turn it off. I changed his name to Casper because Jesus didn't care what you called him. So I changed his name to Casper until I was about 12 years old when my parents told me that I was a little too old to be speaking to Casper. So I turned that off completely and, went into total mathematical engineering, went to school at UC Davis, studied mechanical engineering, and kind of funny because I minored in alternative energy systems. Now it's called renewables, but back then it was called alternative energy systems. And so I obviously had some little hints that I was to know about energy. But fast forward, I was on the fast track at, I was 34 years old, and I was the manager of gas and electric engineering for one of the largest utility companies in the United States. And within 2 positions, I would have been a vice president, and I was headed that way. But it was costing me my health and my marriage. So I had an opportunity to leave, so I did. Took some time off, and really, I'd already been starting dog sled racing. Yeah, dog sled racing. And really got into it seriously. And that very first day, my very first race ever, that first year, I hit my head and was knocked unconscious, and I was dead for 7 minutes.
Right.
And I went, and I remember it. I didn't remember all of it. I actually, when I came to, remember, I was an engineer. I turned off all my gifts. Okay. So when I came to, I thought it was all a dream. I thought it was a dream that was floating around looking at my body, that I was watching people run towards me, that I saw Jesus greet me. And I love to tell that Jesus who greeted me, again, Archangel Sananda who greeted me, was wearing jeans, Birkenstocks, and a Grateful Dead t-shirt.
Oh, I've never heard that before. That's great. I didn't know that about Howie. Well, you do live in the San Francisco area, just saying.
I do, yes. And in college, I was I did follow the dead. So, And, when you have these experiences, we always connect with what makes us feel comfortable,
Right.
Like when some people cross over, they might have a dear aunt or grandmother or somebody or brother who has already transitioned who greets them, right? So, of course it would be Jesus, because as a little kid, that's who I would talk with, right?
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah. And so, like I said, at first to me, it was a dream, all of these things that I had learned and these places that I had seen, and it all kind of happened together, that whole thing of there's not really any, the multidimensional, all of that. But truly, when I came back into my body, I had so many health issues that was paramount. I mean, I couldn't walk 10 feet without passing out. I had impaired vision. I had impaired hearing. I had constant migraine headaches for years. It was like for more than 4 years, I was taking 4 to 6 Vicodin a day to keep the migraines at bay.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Wow. That is just debilitating.
Yeah. Anybody, it is. You can't function.
You can't function.
And it, and I couldn't even think straight enough to realize I probably could have gone on disability or any of those things, but tried everything. I had great health insurance. I tried everything, but I couldn't at the time. I couldn't talk on a cell phone. I couldn't be near a computer. I couldn't watch television. I couldn't listen to music because I had this heightened, while my hearing was impaired, I also had a heightened sensitivity to noise and a heightened sensitivity to energy. In fact, in order to be in my kitchen, I had to unplug the refrigerator, because if the refrigerator cycled on, it would trigger a migraine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time really just getting my physicality together. I got it together enough to go back to work at an entry-level job, which I didn't really love the job, but it did its thing. But as these things, I call it divine synchronicity, I met a woman who said, "Hey, there's this healer coming into town. You want to try?" And I went, didn't even ask how much it was. I just went to go see this guy because I'd tried everything. I mean, really everything that I could find, right? And this is back in 1997 when I hit my head. So it was kind of before we have Google, right? But even then, what do you Google? Hey, I had a head injury. I can't think straight. And I see numbers and symbols when people talk. Wasn't really the thing. So I go see this guy, and he laid his hands on my head, and for 3 days, I was healthy again, and it gave me hope. It made me realize that I could be healthy again. So I saw him like once a week for a few months, and then I was about 80% better. I became his business manager. Didn't realize it at the time. I thought I was just being his business manager because I was a nerd and kind of knew computers and knew marketing and all of that. But I realized in hindsight that I was really learning about energy. and about how, there are people who have gifts that you can lay your hands on somebody and they can be healthy again, and by helping them bring through their healing energy. And so, fast forward, during that time, the only thing I knew was Reiki was just becoming popular or just becoming mainstream. And so I did I think it wound up to be a 3 or 4 year mentorship to become a Reiki master teacher. And a few years later, there was a lady who was staying with us, and she had this, who also became my mentor. She had this brochure. And on the brochure, it said light body surgery. And I went, I have no clue what that is, but I got to do that. And she goes, "You are not a light body surgeon, Barbara." And I went, "Doesn't matter. I need to do this." But they had a couple things. One is that it was taught in England and you had to be there once a month, one weekend a month for 2 years, which wasn't really practical. And, but they also had some requirements, which I needed to do. So I took some other classes, some healing classes, also a class on soul contracts. And that's the one that was more profound, because I briefly mentioned that after my head injury, people would talk and I would see numbers and symbols over their head, but I didn't know what it was. And I went to this class, and the first day of the class, I remembered it all. I mean, I remembered it all about soul contracts. And these numbers and symbols, this fella, Nicholas David Nan, had taken some work and expanded it, and it was all the stuff that I would see. And he created a structure for it. So that was pretty amazing. And then later, a few years later, Nicholas and his business partner had come to me and said, "Hey, we figured out a way that we could teach Light Body if you could come to England twice a year for 2 years, but you'd come for 2 weeks each time." And I said, "I'm on it. I don't know how I'm going to pay for this," because I had just finished doing some breast cancer healing for myself, but I know that I'm supported and it will happen. And within a month, my ticket was taken care of, my lodging was taken care of, and I had my first, we'll call it big client, and it paid for my tuition.
Incredible. It's amazing how when you are on your path and you're doing what your soul came here to do, everything lights up so that you are able to take part in the things that you're supposed to, if you just trust and allow it to happen.
The trust. Oh my gosh, that's an ongoing
That's the hard
process.
Part. That is the hard part.
Yeah, it's been something where it's not like some people will have an awakening. It's what I call when I hit my head, is I had an awakening, and they magically remember everything they're here to do. And well, that wasn't my case. Okay, I had a lot of stuff in the way that I needed to clear out of the way. And also too, because for me, when I returned after the death experience, I was a slightly different person. I had no desire to do engineering anymore. Like none, just like suddenly, no desire to do engineering. I still loved my husband. I still loved my dogs. I still loved where we lived. Gradually, my friends kind of fell along the wayside. Other friends I became closer to. New friends came into my life. I had about 4 people that came into my life within a month after the head injury and have remained dear friends. And I realize now that they came in to kind of help me to ground who I am in the world. But I was a slightly different person. And later on, I would always tell the story about how during this death experience, I could see this big diamond, this huge diamond, and it was very sparkly and just like perfection diamond. And that I didn't know what to call it, but I could see how a facet that was here prior to the head injury had gone home. In fact, she said, "I'm not coming back. There's no way. I'm done. I finished my stuff. Okay. I did what I was supposed to do. I'm not coming back." And I was told I had to come back. And I kept saying no, but I kept seeing how this other facet raised its hand and said, "I'll come back." So a new facet came in. And I later learned that a word for that facet, some people would call it a walk-in, but that facet I call a soul rotation. If you imagine the diamond is your oversoul, all of your soul's experiences, your direct connection to source, all of that, and that one facet was here having an experience, and she said, "Forget it." But another facet said she would come through. And that was that facet that led me into the work that I'm doing now.
Okay, it's really intriguing. So, was it an actual diamond shape, or are you just talking about a diamond that looks like two triangles, like one facing north and the other facing
You
south?
know, to me, it has always looked like the diamond, right? Like an actual diamond, like you would wear on your ring. Okay. Um, but then
Okay.
again, I mean, to everyone, we all have our own view. The two diamonds that sort of like one way and one the other way, I see that as the Merkaba, and that's more your divine vehicle. It is part of your light body.
Right. Our light body.
Right,
Exactly.
your divine blueprint, but I'm going to say that that the divine blueprint is connected, but this was truly at least the way I saw it was your oversoul was an actual diamond shape.
I am asking to get very specific about this because I fell out of a cherry tree, a 3-story high cherry tree, and broke both of my arms. On the way down, I heard my Merkaba spinning, which sounded like a helicopter. And when I hit the ground, I literally saw the vision of a diamond,
Yes, yes.
the jewel diamond. And it was a marquee. That's what my mother had in her wedding ring. And I saw one of the prisms go dim. And then I saw all these prisms on the bark of the tree when I was laying on the ground start dancing around and made this swirly little paisley, I guess.
Yes.
Then it was like I knew that that was me. That's really interesting because when I came out of surgery for my shoulder surgery a couple months ago, I was in the bathroom and I had that remembrance.
Yes.
Now, I was on hydrocodone because I just had surgery. All of a sudden, I remembered that and I haven't thought of that in years.
Mhm.
And I felt like, oh, all of these lights are shining in me now. Now, wait, they're all activated right now. Hence, all the shifts that have happened in the last couple months in my life,
Yes.
including body worship, my podcast, the new job that I'm going to be starting in January, and just every aspect of my life completely shifting since my surgery. So that's really interesting that you saw that diamond. Wow.
Well, and I'm going to say curious again. I'm going to share the other story I mentioned a little bit earlier about I had gone through breast cancer. Did have surgery, and I had surgery. The margins were clear, but not big enough. You know, they wanted bigger margins. They wanted more of an area that was clean. So I had an option of having a second surgery, and it felt right. I needed to have the second surgery. I mean, I did a little soul searching around it, but felt right that I needed the second surgery. I went into the surgery just doing great, upbeat. Even the first surgery, I like recovered very easily and quickly, and nobody could understand how that was happening. Uh, but then I had this second surgery, and you might even share a photograph actually, because I sent you a photograph of it. So I had a picture of myself 24 hours after the first surgery, which was the end of August in 2013. And then I had another surgery the end of October 2013. And when you look, and I have a picture of myself 24 hours later, and when you look at those pictures, it literally looks like two different people. Okay.
Oh, you sent me those pictures. I didn't know what they were. I thought it was for an eye cream you were using. I was like, okay, well, I don't know how that's relevant, but
Yeah. So
yeah, you
now,
look like a completely different person. Wow.
yes.
Thank you
So
for sharing that.
back to the diamond. What had occurred was that literally my soul aspect that had come here in 1997, when I first hit my head, had completed her mission. Heck, do I know what the heck that was? I'm not quite sure yet, but I know that she completed her mission. And during that second surgery, the entire diamond I'm going to call it got an upgrade, okay? And it's called a reincarnation in the same body. So my entire oversoul upgraded, kind of, I'm mentioning it because kind of what you were talking about with the tree, right? And you saw all these different aspects. It's like all of the
Yes.
aspects of this singular diamond all sort of got bigger and were shining more brightly and then came into my body. Many people think that I'm a walk-in, that I've experienced a walk-in. Many people would call that a walk-in. To me, it's still Barbara's oversoul. So it's like I said, it's a reincarnation in the same body. It's about as close as you can get to a walk-in while still the same soul. Now, even though I'm an expert at soul changes and soul exchanges, I'd look in the mirror and go, I don't know what happened, but something happened, right? And I work with some of the experts in the world, right? And they'd go, yeah, something happened, but it wasn't theirs to tell me. Okay. It was for me. It was for me so that I could go through the journey. Of course, when you go through the journey, you help people more easily, right?
Right. It was for you to find out.
So I had to go through the journey until gosh, it was 3 years later. And I mean, I was doing everything I would have done anyway, right? Because light body work is a big piece of it. And I'd already done the light body work and I was doing tune-ups and whatever for myself and then having other practitioners do them for me. And then a gal said to me, did you have a reincarnation in the same body? And I felt it from head to toe. And it was like this big sigh of relief that I really was doing everything that I would have done normally, that there really wasn't anything wrong with me, that something really did happen, and that there was a reason related to why I had this second surgery. And actually, even though the cancer was gone, I was really sick. I was really ill, really, really bad pain and swelling. Like after the surgery, they just couldn't get the pain managed. I couldn't get the pain managed no matter what I did. Continued sensitivities. You and I were chatting a little bit earlier about traveling, and traveling around the world. And I found that I was very sensitive and would get ill when I'd go to certain locations. Again, I just had to experience sort of like with the blindfolders on so that I could experience in depth what it was like.
Yeah, and I hate to say the wounded healer, but honestly, you are on your journey and you have all this body pain and you're going through all these things going, why is this happening? And it isn't until everything, like it is a safe, like everything clicks in and you go, oh, that's why I had to experience it, because I couldn't have the knowingness and the compassion to be able to baby step walk people through what they're going through if this was just from textbook.
Mm-hmm.
You have to experience it.
And we don't always it's kind of the bummer part is like, we always want to say, oh, don't worry, you'll figure out what the lesson was. We don't always know what that is. Okay. We can sometimes go, why did I have to do that? Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
But an interesting thing is that I mentioned a little bit earlier so that I had been diagnosed with breast cancer, cleared it up on the 5-year anniversary of I'm going to get checked out because I'm going to be clear. I was driving down to my checkup and I could just feel the energy going top to bottom, top to bottom. And I knew whatever it was good. Now, I presumed that meant that I was going to be clear, okay, because that's my humanness, right? So I get down there and they go, we found another mass and we'd like to do a biopsy. Well, I had a little bit of a pity party because wait a minute.
You're human.
I'm human, but wait a minute. I help people integrate their soul changes. I've been integrating mine. I've been doing everything that you could possibly think of. And I also have a special gift of helping people with autoimmune, including cancer. And what am I doing getting cancer, right? So I went, oh, well, it is what it is. What are you going to do? Right. So I had my pity party. Thank goodness for a dear friend who I got to pity party with for about an hour. And kind of an interesting thing I like to share is because then I was led. When I say led, meaning like I never made the decision. It's just that I was led to do radiation. Now, my other healer friends would say to me, but Barbara, you don't need radiation to clear this up. So what's going on? I go, I don't know. You're right. I don't need radiation to clear this up, but I need to do radiation. So I go in and I go do radiation. And the first session, I had a lot of fear. I was worried they were going to burn a hole through my body and I might die, and all those things.
Oh, goodness.
Again, I might have my act together, but I'm human.
Yeah,
But
we
let me
all
tell
are.
you, yeah, from session, I did radiation Monday through Friday for 6 weeks, so 30 sessions of radiation. I am lit. Radiation lit up my fields, my entire light body in this golden, sparkly, crystalline, solid light body. Like I needed radiation to do my final bit of integration. And if you could see a picture of me, even like before radiation and after radiation, I had no tiredness. I had a tiny bit of burning, but they kept saying, "What are you doing? Because it looks really good." It served me. Talk about a reality shift for a lot of people. I did radiation. It served me, and I am
And I can
lit.
see that. The picture that I said, you need to make this your profile picture. It just, I mean, you radiate through your eyes. And, I've seen all your pictures before that as well, especially last summer when I was working with you. But that's what I wanted to discuss, because I had while I was working with you, I had major ascension acceleration, which first started with some intense physical resets and then a complete chakra activation, and which was a Kundalini activation I finally figured out. And then I had a complete life reset where I moved from Portland to Boulder. And during all of this transition, like you, I've been able, through your light body activation and the work I've done with you, I have been able to remain centered much more easily, and seeming catastrophic events have simply shifted into huge up levels and blessings. I had this authentic sense of true north during the entire process. And normally that would knock me off. Now, I've had to sleep more and integrate more, but things that would have normally devastated me after having just gone through what I did in 2016 with a car accident and knee replacement and grand mal seizures from the head injuries and stuff. Those, having gone through that and then hiring you and then walking what I've walked through since last summer till now, it has been with such ease, and it has pulled everything together. And so, in the interest of time, unfortunately, we probably don't have enough time to go into exactly what it is that you do. I do want to have you back on again so we can go through what your sessions are like and exactly what they do. But right now, can you just give us a quick snapshot of exactly what light body activation is? Because I'm telling you, Barbara, it is the single most profound experience. And I'm talking 3 decades of all kinds of different modalities and walking my talk and doing my thing. And this pulled it all together for me. What you did and how you worked with me connected me to my higher self. It allowed me to be in the awareness of my multidimensional self while I'm in third density. You're still going to have your human moments. Of course, you're still going to go through things and be triggered, but it's so much softer and quicker, and you get over it more rapidly and realize that there's truly a bigger picture and purpose at work during your challenges. So can you explain what it is that you do? And then next time I have you on, we'll go very deeply into exactly what it is.
Well, first of all, thank you. And it's an honor witnessing all that you've done, because really what I do is I help you bring more of your light into your body so that you can be the divine being you came here to be. That's like it in a nutshell. But from a bigger perspective, I usually say it that the world and our experiences activate us, and they activate our light body. Okay. I am a light body activator. You get activated just by talking to me. I don't really need to do anything. We could do a process if you want, but we could just have coffee. More so, I look at it as your light body is the electrical wiring system that connects you to your physicality, connects you to the earth, and connects you to your divine source. And that wiring gets fried. It gets fried from our experiences here on earth, from traumas, from shock, from beliefs, from what the collective thinks women should be, what men should be, what marriage should be, all of those bits put together, and these wires get fried. And just like in your house, the circuit breakers blow because more light is coming in, or more electricity is coming in, more than this circuitry can handle. So I call it more light body integration. And it's integrating your light into your physicality and embodying it and living it so that everywhere you go, you are literally shining the power of your truth, the power of your light. Did that help?
It does. You explained about how if you're a healer and you're an empath, and you've been working in other people's energy for decades, how you have like a Velcro suit on, and how all of the dog hair and debris and sticky stuff and energy from everybody you've been working on and the world around you sticks to you.
Oh, yeah.
And what you do is you unzip that and help people step out of that Velcro bodysuit, which blocks their ability to manifest and really be in their true power. You help us step out of it and be able to really, like you said, shine in our multifaceted way that we were intended to, and attract clients and attract prosperity, the right people in your lives, the right situations, because it's not buffered with all this other stuff that has been sitting in our energy field.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because if you imagine that if you're wearing this Velcro suit and it's covered with everybody else's stuff, the stuff of the world, right? And then combine that with, you got a wiring system, your light body's little, it's more than just your Merkaba in my world, that the wiring system's a little off. So first of all, you're feeling everybody else's stuff. So how can you even feel your own? And no matter how much you clean it, clear it, protect it, it's just like your jacket. If you have animals and you've cleaned off the Velcro off your coat and you pull it out of the dryer, you wear it one day and it's filled with dog hair again or cat hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I noticed, is that working with you, every time there was an integration period after every session where you can't go out back into the outside world, and you're supposed to just really be introspective and stay within and take salt baths and, really nurture yourself during that period. But then when you go out into the world, things don't stick to you as much, and you're not quite as affected in the devastating manner that when you get to the point where I was, it was sensory overload almost. And now I don't have that anymore. I can really stay in my true self and stay grounded.
Right. Oh, yay. That's the goal, because we came here to have a life and to enjoy life and to be part of it. I mean, anybody can be an enlightened, connected being up on a mountaintop, let me tell you.
Exactly. And it's having your feet in both worlds that you have to be able to navigate and manage. So, we forgot to talk about the type of tea we were drinking.
I know, I'm still drinking it. I normally have every day I drink a lymphatic tea, and it's an infusion that I make the night before, but it didn't get made till this morning. So this morning I have a green tea matcha latte made with hemp milk and a little monk fruit for sweetener.
Oh, nice. And green tea is so healthy for you.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I love it. I'm actually having green tea with pineapple.
Ooh.
And I put some fresh basil and a slice of jalapeno in there.
Ooh.
And so it's nice and tropical, but a little spicy.
Spicy. That would be you, Anna Marie.
Tropical and spicy. Yeah, that's true.
Uh-huh.
So, Barbara, what is one of your favorite practices for practicing self-care?
Favorite one. Okay, well, I'm going to say my simplest favorite one.
Okay.
Is standing outside facing the sunshine, or where the sun might be shining if it's not, letting the energy of the sun beat on my upper chest, and then I turn around and have it beat on my lower back, and it really energizes me. There's some energy centers on your chest and your lower back. I literally get energized by the sun. So that's one of my favorite easy, fast ones. Anybody can do it. And if you're working in an office, especially if you're working in an office, especially if you're an empath, if you would just set your alarm for every 2 hours, just go outside for 5 seconds. Doesn't have to be big, and get recharged.
I love that, because then you're absorbing all those light codes and all that beautiful information and energy. That's a really simple yet powerful practice. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Oh, thank you so much for having me on today.
We definitely have to have you back, because I really want to go through what your clients experience after certain levels and sessions that they go through, and then the transformation that you see in their lives and how they come alive and what they offer the world after they've worked with you. And I want to find out about that in the lymphatic tea as well.
Well, I would love to come back for certain.
Wonderful. And thank you. This is my public acknowledgement to you. Thank you so much for helping me get through everything I did through. You literally saved my life. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And if people want to kind of check in before our next interview, you can find me at embodylightbody.com.
Beautiful. And I'm going to put your website underneath this podcast. If you want to tell them about your complimentary coffee chat time that you have, so they can call you and chat with you.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So especially, if what we talked about today resonates, I offer a complimentary coffee chat where we connect for about 30 minutes. It's not like some coaches do like a big sales pitch thing. It's not like that at all. It's more of we connect. I answer a few questions for you. I'll ask you a few questions. You might get some insights. Oftentimes people get enough insights that they go off on their journey. And sometimes they go, oh my gosh, Barbara, where have you been my whole life? So you can go to embodylightbody.com/connect.
Beautiful. And I want to acknowledge that, yes, it is not a sales pitch. It's a true, authentic connection. And I know I just saw your picture and knew I needed to work with you. And then once we had our coffee time, I was like, oh my gosh, I was that person. Where have you been my entire life? And I was completely correct, because everything in my life shifted after working with you. So thank you so much for what you offer the world and who you are and your journey, and just being the beautiful being that you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna Marie. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
And that concludes tonight's episode. Be sure to check me out on my website, bodyworship.me, or my Facebook page, Body Worship Coach, where you can schedule a free initial consultation for personal empowerment coaching, holographic quantum long-distance healing sessions, the Happiness Project, which is known to stop panic attacks, anxiety, and depression within one session. I also offer past life regressions, workshops, and seminars. Join me next week to anoint your awareness with ancient knowledge and practices by tuning into another episode of Body Worship, an oasis for the mind, a temple for the body, a sanctuary for the soul. If you've enjoyed tonight's episode, be sure to subscribe and like the show at the link below. I'm Anna Marie with my lioness sidekick, Sophie, and you create an amazing day. Namaste.